Hi, everyone. Well, I'm so pleased to welcome back today's guest. But before I introduce him, I want to read some of what he does. He is a director, international vocal ensemble at the Vancouver Community College, artistic director at EMUS, which is which is Aboriginal Electronic Music Festival, facilitator at Simon Fraser University, administrative officer at Red Cedar Aboriginal Theatre, co-founder / producer at original. I keep saying original. They are right. Aboriginal Writers. So co-founder producer at Aboriginal Writers Collective West Coast. Music composer at independent composer and producer. One more thing, if you see his posts on Facebook, then you also know that he's really has a fantastic wit. Welcome back to the show, Russell Wallace. Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry for all the stumbling. Oh my gosh. It really is nice to have you back, though. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. So, with so many things that you do, like how do you keep it all balanced?
Good question. Sometimes I sleep a lot, and other times I'm scrambling around trying to meet deadlines. So it's yeah, it's feast or famine. Like I think that's
Yeah.
what I kind of traditionally that's what we had too. Is like, but yeah, I feel like I there are times where I'm running around like within one day, like so many phone calls or emails, and other times I'm just doing music by myself, and other times I'm watching Netflix or something. So it's a blessing to be working in this way, because I feel the arts community has supported me the last few years, and I am so grateful for that.
Yeah, for sure. Now that's what we talked about I believe, on the first episode, right? And the first time
Hmm.
you came on the show, rather. But I want to explore some of this stuff because it's so fascinating to me. Like how did you become a director for the Indigenous Vocal Ensemble?
Um, well, I blame my mom. um, I- about 20, 22, 23 years ago, my mom, you know, told me to teach singing, and at that point, I didn't feel comfortable, or I didn't. I thought, oh, I'm not a good teacher. I'll never be a good teacher. But she persisted, and she got me opportunities, and where she was working with me and helping, but like you know she put me into that position of a teacher, and I'm thankful for that. Like I never would have thought that as part of my career options when I was young. But yeah, so over the years I've taught a lot of workshops in singing, well, traditional singing, because it's
Right.
stuff that I have learned from my mom, and yeah, over the years, just yeah, workshop, and then um, Vancouver Community College said they were interested in having an Indigenous vocal ensemble, and so I applied for the job, and they hired me, and so I'm happy that I'm continuing the work of my mom. Like she insisted that the songs be shared, and insisted that the teachings be shared, and so like I will say, I'm a good boy. I'm listening to my mom.
I forgot to mention you're with the Lil'wat Nation, right?
Lil'wat Nation, yeah.
Lil'wat. Sorry, I mispronounced that. My apologies.
No.
I don't have the tongue for it, I'm trying to learn things, and as I get older, learning gets harder, unfortunately.
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
So I'm glad you can understand. Now, you're also at the same time artistic director at Aboriginal Electronic Music Festival, right?
Yeah. We haven't had any festivals in a few years, and I mean, part of it is due to the pandemic and stuff. But yeah, and the other part of it is I haven't really had time to get the funding together for that,
Mm.
but maybe in the next couple of years I will, get more funding and try to hand it off to other younger people who have the energy to
So
to do
how,
that.
yeah, so how would you get the funding? Like, where does that come from?
Oh gee. So First People's Cultural Council is one
Okay.
big funder. BC Arts Council, and yeah, a couple of other foundations over the years. We got receive funding from. So,
Okay.
um, but yeah, the idea was to have a festival where there would be free workshops in
Nice.
various things of electronic music, because electronic music is pretty wide in terms of its description. So it could include hip hop, could include electronic dance music, but it could also include electroacoustic experimental music. And so that's what these workshops were aimed at. So
Okay.
we had free turntable workshops, we had free workshops in how to use an analog synthesizer, and so it's it and in anything I do, I like to try to make things free and accessible to everyone.
That's
So
pretty cool. Yeah. But
I
just,
think,
yeah, it's interesting. My son does it for entertainment, but electronic kind of music. He lives in China, but every once in a while he gets to put it on Facebook, and it's quite interesting what they can do with these you know what the word is. It's interesting what can be done with that, right?
it is, and it's way more accessible now. Like when I started doing this in the 80s, it was not as accessible because there was a lot of cost involved, and synthesizers in those days were like $2,000, and back in the 80s $2,000 was like a new car or something.
Yeah, yeah. Oh boy, have things changed.
I know. And then yeah, MIDI was just introduced in the 80s, and
Mhm.
so all of, and samplers were just introduced. So like it was a real um it was a real fun time, but yeah, it was a big investment, but I rented stuff, I learned stuff, and for me it was fun doing those explorations, and you know house music was great. Like that was a fun time to be in.
That just reminded me now, you were made, what was it? Something about lieutenant about music or something like that. What was that?
Yeah, I'm a recipient of the Lieutenant Governor's Award for Music.
Yeah, I saw that post on Facebook. Sorry, I didn't get it right, but I saw that on Facebook and I thought, tell me about that because I've never heard of that before. So this is really interesting.
Yeah, it's a one-time award to celebrate the Queen's Jubilee. Um, and so, people were nominated for their like body of work, but also working within, the community and supporting, other artists. And so I was nominated by Loretta Todd. And so I was so thankful for Loretta for doing that, and yeah, they chose me, and like I was, yeah, I am honored to receive that award, and
Yeah, nice. Very
yeah.
nice, right?
Hmm.
Did you know she had nominated you ahead of time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she asked
Oh, 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 I see. Okay.
permission, and I'm like, yeah, so go ahead, never knowing, like it's like, but then when it came in, I'm like, wow, I feel so
Oh,
honored.
that's so cool. I like that. That's so cool. Now, you're also a facilitator at Simon Fraser University. So what do you facilitate?
Yeah, we used to have monthly singing circles, I guess you could say, and since the pandemic, I haven't done any at SFU, but I do miss it. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes we'd have like 30 or 40 people come in for a 2 hour singing workshop, and it was, yeah, it was always fun, and like I miss I miss singing with a large group of people.
What do you do,
that's
eh?
the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're personally, are you still out there singing?
Yeah, our family group, Zokum, is a traditional group that my mom started. We still perform, and we just opened the Vines Festival last week in Stanley Park. So,
Nice.
I'm still singing with my family, and that's always nice because yeah, it's my kids are involved, and my eldest sister, and my grandson is like, we call him an apprentice right now. He's 9 years old and
Yes.
learning the songs and the dance. So,
So nice. Oh my gosh, that sounds awesome. It really does, right?
mhm.
Um, Now you're administrative officer at Red Cedar Aboriginal Theatre. So where's that theater?
um, well, it's more of a, yeah, it's a collective, and over the years we've done a number of um, like free workshops in theaters. So
Okay.
we do theater workshops, and actually in October we are presenting along with the Fire Hall Art Center a musical that I wrote about Mildred Bailey. So we will be presenting that, and it's been a while. I know I wrote it like 10 years ago, and then just kind of I didn't do anything with it after that until this year. And it's like people kept people were literally harassing me to to do something and put it on again. So I rewrote it, and yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think it's an important musical in that not very many people know about Mildred Bailey, who was a famous Salish. Try to say that, famous Salish.
Famous. You already
Famous.
know I have trouble with words.
Me too. Uh, she was a famous Salish jazz singer from the 30s and 40s.
Oh my goodness.
She was a big influence on Bing Crosby and Tony Bennett and a
Okay.
lot of other jazz crooners. So
Right.
yeah. And yeah, she didn't get a lot of credit after her death. Like she just sort of was basically forgotten. And
Hmm.
it's a she was an important figure in jazz, and so yeah, that's why I wanted to write a musical about her.
Fantastic. I think that's great too. I think everything is great. All right. That's the way I am. Okay, so now you yourself, you talked about now you compose music, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yourself, and you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Um, have you done a lot of compositions?
Yeah, I do a lot of work for film and TV and
Hmm,
theater and dance as well.
right.
Um, and most of my compositions lately have been for choral music, so like for choirs, and
Yeah.
one of my pieces called Journey will be performed in Venice in September as part of the Biennale there. So that's a big,
Oh, awesome.
another big honor to be, you know, part of that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, how does that happen? Just curious, you know?
I think I'm just really lucky sometimes.
Just things
uh,
are just need to fall. They fall where they need to fall, right?
yeah, a friend of mine asked me. If he goes, "Well, do you have any choral compositions?" I said, "Yeah, I got a couple," and I sent it to him, thinking, "Oh, he's going to get a choir in the States
Mm.
to do something," and then he comes back to me later and said, "Well, this is being submitted to Venice for the Biennale." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I would have cleaned it up more. But yeah, it was accepted, and so yeah, like I said, I think it's just I'm lucky to know a lot of really great artists and other composers and stuff, and they engage with me, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and also promote me, and like I'm like, wow, that's really
Very good.
Brent Michael Davis, that's his name. So
Yeah.
my brain is kind of slow.
Mine's broken, so don't write broken. You know, I put it out to the universe that I want a talk show on CBC, but it hasn't happened.
Aw.
So here I am on Zoom. That's all right.
You should be on CBC.
I like what I do, so it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
You do it for the pleasure of doing it. I mean, getting paid would be an option, would be a lovely bonus, but that's not going to happen. So whatever. Now, where was I? I'm still scrolling down because there's been so many things. I just want to see the audience to see this. It's going to be backwards, I think, when I show it, but this is some of the things, just some of the things that Russell does. And it's really pretty awesome to get to speak to somebody who's so has your hands in so many different things when it comes to obviously music and composing. And I think it's just wonderful, I really do. One thing I want to know, is it always like when your work is shown somewhere, or is it always not always Aboriginal places, right?
Yeah, no, I've done a lot of work and collaborations, like with other communities, music communities. So we our family group works a lot with Sawagi Taiko, which is a all women's taiko group here in Vancouver. So we worked a lot with with the Japanese community, and
Nice, yeah.
we've done a lot of performances at Powell Street Festival. I've collaborated with Hussein John Mohammed, who's a Muslim composer and choir director, and so it's been really, yeah, my life has been full of collaborations, which I love, and so that's one of the things. It's like when you're in a playground and when you're a kid, it's like, who am I going to play with next? And so
Well, I think it's good because as the cultures intermingle, right, they get to know each other,
Mhm.
and learn each other and learn about each other. And then you end up with more respect, right, for
Mhm.
somebody's, whether it's a religion or their culture, whatever it is.
Yeah. No, I've learned a lot, and that's the good thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we have to do that in whatever way we can. So like go. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be religious to go visit a mosque or a synagogue or a church. It's like just understanding what they're saying, or like what they're, because I mean, I know that we tend to focus on really strong negative fundamentalist type of stuff, and it's because that's what's in the news. But like I know Christians who are nice, and it's sorry, I didn't mean to pick on Christians, but
No, listen, it's just, sorry, I'm going to, because I have some things too to say that, and I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm not going there.
but I mean, like, yeah, I realizing that, I visited the mosque in Burnaby, and they had an open house thing, and so I went, and I didn't know that they had a real strong community
Yeah,
connection, and so like they have in-house uh, counselors, and in-house lawyers, and different things that are there to help their community,
right.
and so but I mean, a lot of times I think, well, where's the indigenous equivalent to that? We're and it's sad to say that we're still divided on tribal lines sometimes, and
Right.
I think we need to move beyond that, and embrace our indigeneity, and our community again. So
Well, a lot of that was forced on you, I would think.
yeah,
That's my belief.
yeah, that's true.
So it's tough to get past all of that, right?
It is, yeah,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
we got to do it at some point.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people are trying and doing a great job. The more I get to learn about Aboriginal people, First Nations people, the more fascinated I am, and then the more I want to learn. You know,
Hmm.
because I just find it so. Well, I haven't met an Indigenous person that I didn't like. I really, it's true. I can't say the same about white people.
Oh dear. Okay.
Oh,
I have
no,
I have similar views.
it's not the right platform, is it? Okay, so now, with all of this going on, like you said, not everything, you haven't been current with some of the things because of just circumstances and whatever, right? But where in your life, whatever it's career, whatever, where are you now? Or what are you hoping to go and do?
Um, that's something I guess I'm looking at. I've had some health issues, so it's
Oh,
kind of
sorry to hear that.
kept me housebound for the last while,
Mm,
and so I'm wondering what do I do? And of course, I still want to teach because I think those teachings are important
yeah.
and need to go out into the world. Um and musically, like I think what works best for me is, yeah, being commissioned to do something. And so, you know, otherwise, I- I need a deadline. Otherwise, I don't accomplish anything.
Yeah.
And so, that helps with things. But I mean, I do visual art as well, and like I have a painting going up in McBride Park, which will be part of an exhibit.
Oh,
So it's one part of me that it still wants to explore that.
right.
So yeah, McBride Park at the end of August until I think it was a couple of months or whatever. So yeah, there's a big banner of my painting of dried salmon, but then there's a QR code which I created music, an exclusive track for that painting. So if you go there, you have a QR code. You can listen to the song with that painting.
Wow. All right. I like that. That sounds really good. I know somebody else who was a musician and also an artist, painter, and he incorporates the music with the painting, and I think that's great.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's something to explore as well.
yeah.
Theater, I'm still interested in theater. And writing. There's all these areas. Yeah, because I am a writer as well. So I want to
Okay,
write a
I want to know
novel and
what. Sorry to interrupt you. I want to know what you don't do.
I don't do
What you
dishes.
don't do. You do so much stuff. Do you do you dance or had you danced like
um,
the dance any of the
I,
traditional dancing?
yeah, I danced a little bit. I wasn't the greatest dancer though, and but I mean, now that my body is like kind of dictating what I do,
Mm,
I you know it I wish I could. I wish I would have danced more.
right.
Because now it's just like, okay, well, I just got to shuffle my feet. That's what the level of dance I have in me right now. But
Yeah. Except the
um,
music is still in there, right?
the music's still in there, and my hips still want to move, and my
And
shoulders still want to bop up and down. And
I can relate. I can relate to that one too. Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, that's really good. So, is there anything that you want to share that I haven't asked about? I don't want to miss out on anything.
um, that's a good question because I tend to forget a lot of things that are going on in my life. I live
Yeah.
kind of 1 or 2 days at a time, like looking that far ahead, and anything beyond that is like all blurry anyway. It's like, yeah, I'll be back teaching at VCC in September.
Good.
And yeah, the Mildred Bailey musical will be in October at the
Mm.
Fire Hall Arts Center. Yeah, and I'll continue to write. I'll continue to compose and um, hopefully not decompose. So
No. No. Well, you can always come back on if you have more things to share. I would love that. I think that'd be great.
yeah, no, no, thank you for having me. I'm glad that you're doing this work, and
Thank you.
I've seen a lot of interesting interviews that you've done in the past. So
Thanks. I appreciate
um,
that.
yeah.
I'm just so, well, I want to learn. I want to learn, and I figure I started so late in life. I started doing this in my 60s, and it's like, oh my gosh, I have to cram in as much there as I can until I get, there's a point where it'll happen. Then all of us, I won't be able to do it anymore. So, like I have today 4 interviews. It's like, fortunately, you're all very different from each other, so it makes it really, really fabulous. So we're going to end it there. I just want to thank you so much. So everybody, this has been my interview, second interview with Russell Wallace. I hope you check him out. I'm sure you can just Google his name. He's going to come up everywhere. So thank you for watching the show, everybody, and be nice and peace out.
A sense of community, Lil'wat's a place to be. A sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Lil'wat's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Lil'wat's the place to be, you'll see.